Hello everybody, this is my junk journal for the Fairy, Mermaid and Unicorn swap. This was a swap where you had to use rings or wire binding. So I used rings, and you can see they're kind of disguised with all these fibers I have. So again, I think everyone recognizes this paper stack Once Upon a Time. And the original was too large for the book cover, so I Xeroxed it and made it reduce the size. The cover I love is the napkin decoupage. There's a fairy peeking out and a small mermaid. And I already talked about the fibers, and I have some ribbon flowers hidden under there. And then this back cover. This back cover, I like it. It was some crumpled paper. Then I painted the paper gold and some peeled paint, green distress ink, and you can see 3 shots of some pink spray, and it gives it this kind of iridescent look. And there you see a little fairy at the corner there that I think goes well with this book about fairies, mermaids, and unicorns. So Once Upon a Time, my closure's the button and elastic that I like to use. And let's see, I think I have it all in here. Okay, there you can see the 3 rings. Here's a pocket, so I put something there so you can see. Martha Stewart punch. And once again, this is what I originally had, and I reduced it because they were too large. So you flip it over. Here's a quote: "Those that do not believe in magic will never find it." And this is a top tuck here, and Far, Far Away. And there you see a fairy, and you see the bottom tuck. Many of the pages from this journal came from this book, The Dawn Fairy. And I picked it up at a thrift store, and the reason I picked it up was I love the illustrations, and I love that the pages were surrounded with borders. And so that's the reason. Here's the Dawn Fairy, and you will see some of the pages. And as you can see, you see the page, and I covered it with notebook paper. I thought it was thick enough, but you can kind of see the print underneath. So what are you going to do? So like I said, it's very pretty. You can journal there. And then I pulled out my fairy stamps, and I used that, I guess, embossing powder, and to give it that magical feel to it. So leave a little sparkle wherever you go. Again, the paper there. Here's the book. This is a paper bag, gift bag, and I made it into a pocket. Here's a tag. And this came from an advertisement, and I just put an index card behind it, and I think it looks really nice. So I tried to keep the spirit of the junk journal going. Again, a book page. You can see the beautiful borders, distress ink, and again the fairy stamps with the embossing powder. And I supplemented, I think you can see the fairy down there with this paper. And it says, "Leave room in your gardens for fairies to dance." This came from a little workbook, Ariel the Mermaid. And there you can see, use these words, and there's a notebook paper. And here's another, on this side, a graphic 45 stamp that you can't see very clearly, as clear as I would like. So yes, I am a mermaid. And the fairies, every miracle takes a little time. The fairy godmother. Now, I was gifted a bunch of this colored paper, and what I did was I turned it over and punched it. I don't know if you can really tell, to reinforce. It's a thinner paper. And then, of course, I got out I love to stamp borders, so I had some new Prima border stamps. And again, Martha Stewart punch, the gift paper bag, and my tags went under this doily. And I put a paper clip just because they need a little bit more stability because of how the book is constructed. And then Here's another one. She had the soul of a gypsy, the heart of a hippie, and the spirit of a fairy. So, and right here, I added a fairy, and she is a tiny little tuck spot for these tags. Giggle, and so there she goes. And I do cover up the little squirrel there, but that's okay. I think he'll get over that. And there they go, the two tags in the tuck spot. And again, there's that book page, the borders. This is, again, the paper bag. It was that nice bright color that I think fit in well. And I think every book needs a frog, kiss a frog, and who knows what will happen. And here I did a tiny little bit of stamping, Sea of Wonder. And I just let the paper stand alone because I thought it was so pretty. This is all distress ink. There's a pocket from that paper bag. Here's a Martha Stewart punch and a printable. And the unicorn spread magic. Stamping. This came from that same workbook of Ariel. So you can color it or do whatever. And these are little post-its I found at Michael's, and I think it made a nice little page there. Here's the stamping, and I purposely leave these pages this way for journaling. And this stamp is just a sprinkle of fairy dust, poof, poof, poof. And again, you see that iridescent, the embossing powder with this. And all you need is faith, trust, and a little pixie dust. And again, all of these were kind of colored with distress ink. This unicorn came from a little book I found at a thrift store, and I just thought it was so pretty. And here's the back of the page, and this is Julie Nutting's mermaid, and she really is a tuck spot right there. And you turn her over and you can kind of see her fins. And some of these pages, I'm just leaving the new owner a chance to, I'm sending a lot of printables so she can glue them in, make it her own. And again, the same doily kind of pocket, same kind of style of tags there. This is again the illustration, and I think you can see why I chose this book. Here's a really tiny little envelope. Inside of it is a little paper so you can write a little message there. And the back, the envelope also forms a little pocket, and that's what you're seeing there. And like I said, this is why I had picked this book. It was so, the illustrations were just beautiful. Here's an envelope. Been floating around my stash. I don't know if you can quite see this fairy there, but I thought it added a little something magical to it. And here's a little pendant that acts like a closure for this, for anything else you want to put in there. And as you can see, it will lift up and close the flap down. And I had these borders left over, so these are little tucks. And you can see how the tuck in the corners, pretty secure. Here's another quote: "Ride with unicorns and swim with mermaids." Okay. And the same style of pocket, tags. And then I had this long piece left over, so I have a split page again. And there you see the little tuck right there with a little purple iris fairy. And then you flip it over and you see another little tuck spot with another little tag there. Again, the fairy, and here's the pocket with the tags. The unicorn, it's one of those giant pockets right there. It's just very pretty illustrations. And here's another one: "Every person's life is a fairy tale written by God's fingers," which I thought was kind of fun. This is a card Just add it to the garden. There you see the post-it notes, and there's Ariel once again. This page, like I said, I'm leaving it for the new owner, and again, poof poof, just a sprinkle of fairy dust. And here you can see these are actually tuck spots. I don't think they're very effective with this style of journal with the rings, but they do reinforce, and they are nice and decorative. And here's the last. This is just a big pocket right here. And the last page, my spirit animal is a slightly deranged unicorn who has a mission to poke holes in all of the annoying people. And it, I think, is to secure the last pages. There you see the envelopes. This is one that I have here, and again some of the printables. Here's the envelope. This little fairy. He has a little tag that or stopper that keeps the flap closed, and here's my little gold elastic that is a closure there. So let me pull it out. It does work very nicely. And so this is a walkthrough of my book. Once upon a time there were fairies, unicorns, and mermaids. It's just a very fun book to do. I like the elastic closure because it kind of keeps the pages nice and straight in there. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.